welcome back, everybody, to this week's special live episode of the DCL Duo Podcast. We were just here last night. We're back tonight. Why? Because it is like Christmas morning for Disney Cruise Line fans. New itineraries have been released. And we're going to bring our special guest on here in 1 second who's going to help us talk through all of these itineraries. But before we do, I need to say thank you to our live show sponsor, the DCL Magazine. So love all the great folks over at the DCL Magazine. I know we say that every time, but truly, they are fantastic people with a fantastic product. It's one that we have spent money on ourselves, and so we sponsor and do the ad read on the show here for them because we think it's fantastic. The people, the product, everything. If you have not already subscribed to the DCL Magazine, head over to DCL-magazine.com. That's DCL-magazine.com. I'll have that scrolling here in a second. To subscribe, you can be part of the first crew of people off the actual DCL Magazine. They did a test float edition last year under the WDW Magazine moniker. They're now launching the full DCL Magazine. We also heard from Stephanie, calendar is coming. They've got a great bundle over there right now. So just head over to DCL-magazine.com to subscribe today. Use code DCL Duo. That's all caps DCL Duo to take 10% off everything in their store. And thanks so much to Danny, Stephanie, Tatiana, Tim, the whole crew over there at the DCL Magazine for supporting our show. Show them some love and you support us. So head over there and subscribe today. But Sam, I want to bring in our guest.
Bring in our guest, Chelsea.
One of our favorites. It's Chelsea from My Path Unwinding Travel. Welcome back, Chelsea.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, we feel like you're becoming our itinerary release guru. You've been on with us for the last 2 itinerary releases. Like Karen Shelton is apparently like traveling every time the itinerary releases drop. And so we love Karen, but we have been lucky enough to have you come on our show the last 2 times for the itinerary release. And we were chatting with Karen and we're like, is maybe Chelsea available? And so we're so excited to have you back on, Chelsea. It's so great to have you. Well, we are going to be talking, as Brian mentioned, about the itinerary releases that dropped today. Of course, if you have questions after tonight's broadcast and you want to ask those questions to an expert, or you want to book something, you're ready to book when your booking window opens, and don't worry, we'll go over the booking windows. Of course, please reach out to our show sponsor, My Path Unwinding Travel. You can reach them by going to the website, mypathunwindingtravel.com/DCL Duo, or you can email them at dclduo@mypathunwinding.com. And you could also just reach out directly to one of their travel advisors. Just let them know that you came from the DCL Duo, and they will help you get something booked or answer your questions if you're looking for quotes and things like that. So, but let's get started here. I am super excited. There is some interesting stuff on this release. I mean, nothing like hugely surprising, I think, but there's some really cool stuff on here.
Sam, get your monocle on and tell people what you found last time.
Well, first of all, I just need to, this is actually not just a monocle. This is a,
apparently a device you can't figure out how to use.
No, it's actually a bonacle. I don't know what not bifocal. I don't know what it is. But anyway,
they're called glasses.
I know, but isn't this so cool? My aunt gave this to me a few years ago, and so it looks like it's like
everyone listening right now is like, I have no idea what she's talking about.
I know.
For their benefit,
a magnifying glass.
For their benefit, Sam has a necklace that folds out into like opera glasses almost, or something like that. So anyway. Keep going, Sam.
Respect. But I'm also wearing my Sherlock Hemlock hat, which is for those who don't know, he was a character many moons ago on Sesame Street, and he was a detective. He's actually a terrible detective because it ends up that he's actually usually the culprit of whatever crime he's trying to solve. But I love wearing this for Sleuthing Sam is here. But first, before we jump into all the stuff in the itineraries, I just gotta say, I told you so. That's all I gotta say. You heard it here first on the DCL Duo podcast. We told you we hadn't seen any port schedules, but
Chelsea
we told
was there.
You,
she's our witness.
Yeah, Chelsea's a witness. She was there. We told you that the Wish was going to Europe. And we told you that because she was the only ship who had nothing released for May of 2027 that could possibly go. I mean, we didn't see anything, I think, on the schedule for the Wonder and the Magic, but we knew they were going to be on the West Coast and doing the Alaska season because the Wonder was already going to be on the West Coast and the Magic was going through the Panama Canal to get to the West Coast. So the only ship available to go to Europe based on the schedules that were released last time was the Wish. And we told you that she was going to Europe. And guess what? She's going to Europe. We're going to talk about her and what she's doing later in the show, because I think that that's kind of the main course of tonight's itinerary release show. But let's start with, as Brian likes to call, like our vegetables or appetizers, right? Like,
I'm gonna spoon feed you the Brussels sprouts right now.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna read directly from the Disney Cruise Line press release here. The Disney Adventure continues to bring magic to Southeast Asia. That's the headline. So nothing is changing at all. She is going to be doing 3 and 4 night sailings to nowhere from Singapore through the summer of 2027. No ports added. Nothing changes. So there you go.
The other Brussels sprouts, although I mean they're actually, I will call them like fried delicious Brussels sprouts with maybe some bacon and some like sweet chili glaze on them. Chelsea, tell us, what's the treasure going to be doing in summer 2027?
The treasure is going to be continuing with the Eastern and Western Caribbean sailings.
Yep. And just alternating back and forth, so she's not doing anything else interesting. She has no like detours or changes in her schedule. It's really the same, the same Eastern and Western that she's been doing. Let's move on to the Dream, because the Dream, I think, is another area where there is a change. She's not doing what she's currently doing, which is right now she's currently out of Port Everglades doing like 4 and 5 night sailings, but she's returning to her previous life in Port Canaveral. So Chelsea, what's the Dream doing in summer of 2027?
Yeah, so the Dream is moving back to Port Canaveral, as we mentioned, and is going to continue doing Bahamian sailings from there, 3 and 4 night sailings.
Yeah. And it's, I think, almost exclusively the Castaway Nassau thing that she's doing, although I think she might have a couple of things where she does Lookout.
Double dips. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there's a couple double dips on there, but not a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's going to be, these are where we see sort of the least amount of changes. I guess we can move to the Fantasy, who I think has got there's a mix of interesting. I mean, she's mostly doing her 4-4-5 pattern, right, where she's going to Western Caribbean and Bahamas for most of her sailings, with quite a few stops at Lookout, quite a few stops at Castaway. So there's some double dips and stuff mixed in there. But then she actually does have something interesting on there. I don't know, Brian or Chelsea, did you notice what's on there for the Fantasy?
There is a 10-night Southern Caribbean sailing on there.
Disney just does not want me to book, because I've told them if it's 11 nights, I'm booking it, but they keep making it 10 nights. So, it's a smack in the face, I feel like. I mean, it's just like directly contradicting what I ask for. So, yeah.
It's all about Brian. It's all about what Brian wants to book or doesn't want to book. That's why
it's never really all about me. So this one time, I just want them to do the 11 nights. I will book it. Like, no questions.
Yeah. Now, Tracy's saying 10-night Southern, Brian, but yeah, it's also not. I mean, it's a good itinerary. Let me put this out there. This is a good itinerary, but it's not the ABC Islands itinerary. So you're gonna get this 10-night out of Port Canaveral, July 11th, Phillipsburg, St. Martin, Castries, St. Lucia, St. John's on Antigua, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and then you get to go to Lookout and Castaway on this cruise. So it's partially a Bahamian. It doesn't go quite as far south as the ABC Islands, but all of these stops are great stops. It's just not the Southern Caribbean that I would want to like that would push me over the edge to book, right? Like it's a great itinerary if you're looking for a longer itinerary and you're looking for something in the Caribbean. I think this is a great option. It's just not the one that I would be asking for, like Brian said. And I don't need the 11 nights, but I want to go. I want to go to Aruba and Barbados Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. Yeah. So that would be my ask. So they did not give us that, but I think, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to sail on the Fantasy. I think the Fantasy one, she's sailing out of Port Canaveral still. So it's going to be interesting to see the Dream and the Fantasy both back in Port Canaveral with the Treasure, right? Those three ships going to be based in Port Canaveral for the entire summer, and see them sort of alternating at terminals 8 and 10. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of nice to see the gang, the Dream class, back together again. All right. Well, let's move on to the Destiny, I guess, because the Destiny, I think, is also kind of continuing for the most part on what it's currently doing. So, Chelsea, why don't you tell us what's the Destiny mostly doing? We'll start there.
Mostly doing 3 and 4 night Bahamian sailings from Fort Lauderdale. They've got
4 and 5, not 3 and 4.
They're
Do they
actually
have 3 nights? Do they?
there are, yeah.
Oh, there are
They've
some
got
3 nights.
they've got 2. They've got one in September and one in August.
Mm.
And then they have some 4 nights and then some 5 nights. But then they also do have, I think, 2 Eastern Caribbeans on the books, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 Western.
It says they've
Yeah.
got, according to the press
So
release,
they've got
it's,
another 2.
yeah, it says 3, 4, and 5 night itineraries to the Bahamas and Caribbean, as well as 4 7-night sailings to the Eastern and Western Caribbean, with select
Yes.
voyages stopping at both Castaway and Lookout, which has not been unusual for the Destiny
Right.
currently. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the Eastern Caribbean itineraries, the 2 that I'm seeing on the Destiny that I think are really interesting because they're different than the standard Eastern, right? The standard Eastern goes to St. Thomas and to Tortola. And I mean, there are varieties. Sometimes they'll do St. Martin or San Juan. But these 2, June 26th and August 7th, they go to Castaway, Lookout, San Juan, and Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic, which is a really good stop. We went to Puerto Plata on Virgin Voyages, and we really liked that stop as well. So I think that's a really great itinerary. It's not super unique because obviously you're going to 3 ports that Disney Cruise Line goes to quite a lot, but you're adding 1 extra port, and there's only the 4 sailings, as Brian and Chelsea mentioned, between the Eastern and the Western. There's only 4 sailings, 2 Eastern, 2 Western, for these 7 nights that season. So right in the middle of summer, I could see those. I haven't looked at prices, but I could see those being kind of on the expensive side because
I'm
they
looking
are
at
unique.
pricing right now, given the chatter in our chat, and so it's just which cruises, because I'll take a look.
The 7 nights on the Disney Destiny, they're ones in, both. Well, just look up 7 nights in Destiny and look at those prices, because there should be 4 different ones, 2 Western, 2 Eastern, and they don't all do the duo dip. Only the Eastern ones do. The Western ones both just go to looks like Lookout. Yeah, it looks like the Western ones both go to Lookout Key. Yeah. All right. Well, while Brian's looking at that pricing, we have got
So here, I've got the pricing pulled up here.
Oh,
while
okay,
we're there.
good.
So the 7-night Western Caribbean is this. I just want to make sure I've got the right ship here. Yeah, Disney Destiny. So they're only showing. Oh, I guess they're like broken up into different sailings. So we start with the 7-night Eastern Caribbean cruise from Fort Lauderdale with 1 stop at Castaway and Lookout.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of in the heart of the summer here in June 26th, July 3rd, August 7th, 14th. So it's an inside cabin, It's pretty variable here. Inside cabin on the June to July sailing is $8,100. A veranda's close to $10,000. Whereas on the August sailing, which is after school has started to go back into session for some, the price drops to about $7,000 for an inside and comes down significantly. It's about $8,250 for a veranda. So I mean, about a little over $1,000 a night in the shoulder season. That's not
In an inside though.
no on veranda.
Oh,
82
oh, okay.
82.98 for a 7-night sailing. That's it's not like completely unheard of for Disney Cruise Line pricing. The Western is much. It comes in right in between, and both the Westerns come in about the same. So yeah, you're looking at about, I don't know, $1,200 a night, maybe, to sail on that 7-night itinerary on the Destiny. So
Yeah.
which is, I mean, for me, I'm like looking at that going, this is the newest ship in the fleet, besides the
Right.
Adventure. That doesn't feel crazy to me. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's jump to the oldest two ships in the fleet, because we have to save the Wish for last, because I think she's got the most interesting itineraries to talk about tonight. So we already knew, based on just the positioning of the ships and the last itinerary release, that the Wonder and the Magic are going to be doing the Alaska season again, just like they're doing this year. So 2026, they're doing both ships doing Alaska. 2027, both ships doing Alaska. We knew they'd be doing, mostly 7 nights, but on different days, because that's what they've been currently, or that's what they're scheduled to do this year. But there are a couple of interesting ones in there. I think that the Magic itinerary, that 8-night Magic itinerary that's on there. So they're mostly doing 7-night itineraries where the Wonder is doing its sort of standard Alaska, where it goes Juneau, Ketchikan, Skagway, right? It's doing that the whole summer, no variation. The Magic is doing Icy Strait Point in a lot of its, or maybe all of its sailings. But then there's this 8-night itinerary. I don't know if you guys looked at this, but I thought this was a really cool itinerary. She's going to hit, well, of course, Glacier Day, Skagway, Icy Strait Point, Sitka, and Ketchikan. And I think Sitka is one of those ones that they don't go to but maybe once or twice the entire season, if they go at all. And I don't know, if I was going to Alaska that season, and I know Brian Harlow in the comments is telling us to go back to Alaska. We were talking about it in our last itinerary release. We've been talking about going to Alaska in 2027. I think we're putting a pause on that until 2028, just because we've got some other vacation expenses, and Alaska's kind of, an expensive vacation. So I think we're putting a pause on that till 2028 to go back to Alaska. But I think that's a great itinerary. I don't know what you think, Chelsea. I thought, there's also that 6-night if somebody's looking for something a little bit shorter.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great itinerary. I'm sad that they don't have any like 9 or 10-night itineraries, because I think Alaska's beautiful and the more time there, the better. But yeah, I love that 8-night itinerary. It's really great.
Yeah. And I think this year they're doing a 9-night and a 5-night, meaning 2026. If I'm remembering correctly from 2 itinerary releases ago or 3 itinerary releases ago, that the Magic is doing one where it gets off schedule and it's a 9 and a 5. So this time they'd be doing an 8 and a 6 instead of a 9 and a 5. So really most of the season is pretty cookie cutter, with that one exception, and that is at the very end of the end of June, and then the end of July, and that's
Right.
to get them sort of back on schedule. But
Yeah,
those look awesome.
22nd.
Yeah. Those look awesome. And then of course, I mean, but you can't really go wrong with going to Alaska on the Wonder, even though she is doing that standard Skagway, Juneau, Ketchikan itinerary. So I don't think you can go wrong with booking either of those ships in Alaska. And yeah, actually, and the Magic is doing Skagway, Icy Strait Point, Ketchikan. So the Magic is doing Icy Strait Point. Wonder is doing Juneau. So that's really the main difference between the itineraries, as well as what day of the week they leave
Yeah, I was trying to
on.
figure out the day of the week because
There's a switch in the middle of the season. That's
oh, it
one.
does. Okay.
Yeah, there's a switch for the Magic. The Wonder is consistently, I believe it's Monday for the Wonder, which is this. I think it's the same as what it has been the last couple of years, which I
So the
think is
one, yeah,
Monday.
the Wonder's departure dates, so May 10th. Yeah, so it's a Monday. It looks like all Monday departures for the Wonder, and then for the Magic, you're talking a Thursday departure there on May 13th.
Yeah. What about July 1st?
July 1st is also a Thursday.
Okay. So mostly Thursday departures. I wonder if what about August 5th? Sorry, just trying to figure out
Nope, still Thursday.
Okay. So yeah, so she's doing Monday departure versus Thursday departure. I don't know that one is better than the other. It's just a matter, I guess Monday might be a little bit easier for folks for work. If you're missing, work,
Yeah.
because you can travel at least on the front end, you can at least travel on the weekend. But I guess if you're coming, you can travel on the weekend on the back end if you're leaving a
It's the
Thursday.
same number of days off work, regardless
Yeah.
of which one you do. It's really just a question of whether that midweek work break is going to be a problem. But yeah, I look. I would advocate if you're looking to go to Alaska. The Wonder is a magical ship, and we love it, and we love the crew and the spaces and everything about the Wonder. The Magic, unfortunately, is probably my least favorite ship in the fleet, and it's only because every time we have been on board the Magic, there has been some sort of mechanical issue happening, and so, like, she's the one ship right now that I feel like is really showing some age, both from a system standpoint and just an aesthetic standpoint. She looks great. Don't get me wrong. She looks great. Looks way better than anything, like Royal has from that era out there. But I just love the Wonder. So if I was going to go to Alaska, I would definitely prioritize those Wonder itineraries.
But what I will say is the Magic tends to be less expensive than the Wonder for those.
I don't think there is really any daylight on the pricing for these two ships right now.
I don't know. There was for 2026, because I remember friends of ours were talking about booking for this summer, and they were looking at prices, and there was a significant difference. And the only difference that we could sort of explain to them there's one difference of port, right? There's the Juneau versus Icy Strait Point. And of course there's differences of the ships, but the itinerary really, that's the only difference in the itinerary.
So the Magic is clocking in. Let's just go with the Veranda stateroom. And for reference, I've got this set up for 3 people on my search. So like it's a 3-person in a cabin situation for pricing. Let me get not in shoulder season. Let me get to kind of the height of the season here in like late June. So Veranda on a 7-night on the Magic is, call it $10,000, $97.83. So for 3 people.
What's the date? Make sure you pick a similar date for the Magic.
June 24th to July 1st. On July 1st to July 8th, which would be kind of a holiday sailing for the U.S. with the July 4th weekend, the Verandas creep up to, it looks like they peak at about $10,500 for a Veranda stateroom across the season, and then kind of go up and down. They do kind of the bell here, right? Because of the shoulder seasons. If I look at the
Wonder.
The Wonder wasn't showing me for a second. There it is. If I look at the Wonder, she creeps up, like at her height, she's $400, maybe $500 more for a Veranda stateroom. So over a 7-night sailing, it's less than $100 a night. So the Wonder is clocking in slightly more expensive than the Magic, but not enough that I think it would make the difference for me on like which sailing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and some people just love the Magic,
and
they
love. Don't get me wrong.
Some people love, especially if you're a Rapunzel fan, you want to be on the Magic. If you're a Tiana's fan, you want to be on the Wonder. That's what I'll say.
Your opinion is valid. I just don't share it, and I have reasons why. You have reasons why. It's fine. Like I would not begrudge anyone sailing on the Magic. She is a wonderful ship in the fleet, and obviously the OG. So you can't go wrong. Yeah. So I just want to comment on the pricing briefly. Like, I will wait. Look, Scott Sanders is going to have this all over his blog here probably in a week with all of the comparisons and the pricing. I am sure that pricing has gone up. it has not gone up to such an extent that I'm like noticing it acutely when I'm looking at pricing for these cruises. I actually did go back and compare like what we paid for the Wonder sailing we did out of Hawaii, or sorry, out of Vancouver. And was looking at kind of the concierge pricing. I'm sure that has ticked up a little bit too. I'm not choking on the price from the standpoint of I've been so desensitized to this pricing that the increments it's going up aren't like leaping out at me. I'm sure that there are edge cases here and there that we can find, but it seems to be pretty consistent around somewhere around $1,000 to $1,500 a night for a veranda, depending on your sailing. And there's actually, I was looking at Europe, and there's some kind of interesting itineraries over there that don't seem like they're priced all that aggressively. So anyway, Sam, back over to you. The pricing discussion is over.
Okay. So we have hit all of the ships now, I believe, except for the Wish. So this is where we get into the entree, the main course.
Sorry, I just have to share this. Sorry, this is a great comment from Sean. This is exactly how I feel with the pricing. I definitely realize I have to spend a little more than I planned on, but not enough to call my cardiologist. 1,000%. 1,000%. So, yeah.
I love that. Okay. Well, first, I mean, in order to get over to Europe, she's got to do a transatlantic crossing. Chelsea, is this a transatlantic crossing you would want to do? 13 nights from Port Canaveral to Barcelona, Spain.
I mean, on the Wish, yeah. I mean, for me, my biggest gripe with the Wish has been that there's never been a long enough itinerary.
Right.
I got it.
Right? 9
See, they
days
listen
at
to you,
sea.
Chelsea. They don't listen to me.
They don't. 9 days at sea, a stop in Portugal, Gibraltar, and Spain, an overnight stop actually in Cartagena, Spain, and then you end in Barcelona. I mean, that if you like sea days, it's like if you like sea days on the Wish, I don't know. I feel like if you like sea days, a transatlantic is for you. I will say it's a little bit early. It's April 25th. It's about a week plus a couple days earlier than it is this year, and then it was this past year. And so it might be a little bit of a chilly crossing in April. I'm thinking you're in open waters in April, late April, early May for the crossing. You get there, I think it's on May 8th. And so it's going to be a bit of a early season. But if you love sea days, this is a fantastic itinerary. But this is where I have to bring out my glasses, monocle, whatever we want to call this thing, because I noticed that from May 8th to May 22nd, there is a hole in this Wish's schedule. The Wish has nothing. When people get off that transatlantic, the Wish has nothing going on until May 22nd. What does that mean, folks? That means it is dry dock time. The Wish is due for her 5-year dry dock at that point.
Her maiden dry dock.
Yeah, she's basically going to be a kindergartner now. And she needs a little bit of, just like, I don't know, a shower maybe, and some, maybe some new paint, some new wax, being, buffed a little bit. Like, it's only a 2-week hole in the schedule, which means that's a kind of a short dry dock. Most of the dry docks are closer to 3 weeks, but maybe because this is her first actual dry dock, I'm thinking she probably just doesn't need that much work. But yeah, that has to be. I predicted that the dry dock was going to be the end of the season before I saw this itinerary release. I thought it was going to be like in September. But this makes sense because she was actually supposed to be released. If we recall, if we go back in our minds 5 years ago, during the dark times, she was supposed to be sailing in June, and she ended up sailing in July. So she does hit her 5 years a little bit earlier than September. So maybe she absolutely has to go into dry dock, not just within year 5, but within,
Sean has a question for you. I love this question. Okay, Sam, you're on a hot streak of guessing. Do you think Hyperspace Lounge survives?
I do. I don't think there's any way, especially in it's only a 2-week dry dock. I don't think there's any way we get a retheming of Hyperspace Lounge. It is possible that they could zhuzh it up a little, right? We could see some additions to Hyperspace Lounge, some more decor added or something. But I'm going to be honest, I'm not optimistic about that.
I'm going to take the counterpoint for just a second. I don't think that bar is doing well. And Disney has... Oh, wait, let me finish. Oh, sure, the droids. Sure, they got the droids. Great. But I don't think that bar has been performing well. If the droids solve that problem, I agree with you. But that bar has been largely empty when we've been on the Wish since it debuted, and then the drinks aren't great. So I wonder if they have demonstrated a propensity for investing in spaces to plus up their revenue. And so if they look at that space and they go, I need more people in this bar, what can I do to make it better? I don't think it's going to be I don't think they're going to rip it out and put in Hyperspace put in the Haunted Mansion. And I don't think that they're going to completely redo it. I do think that they could plus that space up a little bit, maybe haul some stuff over from the defunct Star Cruiser and put it in there in some way during a dry dock to make that bar a little bit more attractive for people to spend time in and try to sell some more drinks. That's just...
Yeah. I gotta say, I like Linda and Ed's comments, because both of these would work if they change the timeline to the original Star Wars character timeline, right? Then we could see more character involvement in that space. We could also potentially see something like DJ Rex from Oga's Cantina in there, right? So they don't have to be they could add just a little bit of plussing up. And like I said, character experiences like they're doing with the droid already, I think have already increased attendance in the Hyperspace Lounge. So I don't think they have to do too much. Chelsea, I'm curious what you think. Do you think Brian predicting more of a plus up? I am predicting very little, or very sort of low budget plus up, if any. What's your prediction on that?
I'm stuck in the middle. As much as I would like to see them,
you're literally between us here.
Space, right. I would like to see them push up the space a little bit. I don't know if they will. I think they're probably just gonna give her a fresh coat of paint, make her all nice and shiny and new, and back out to sea you go.
Here's the real question: more concierge staterooms? They've been adding them on all the other ships. This is the first Wish class to go through. Will they add some more? Well, maybe they set themselves up.
I think they started with what they wanted, and I don't think they're going to add.
But they set themselves up for it on deck 11 with those forward-facing rooms that are concierge when the rest of the deck isn't. So, I kind of wonder if they're going to slowly expand that deck.
I say no, because they already had a lot of operational issues when they first released the Wish. They didn't have enough hosts, they didn't have enough staff, and they finally got that smooth sailing, and it's smooth sailing on the Destiny and the Treasure and of course the Wish now. And so I think that they've got a lot of concierge inventory now across the fleet. So I'm gonna say not now. I'm gonna I
will ultimately agree with you there, if for no other reason than we're hearing about such soft bookings in various sailings around concierge. It makes me wonder if now is not the right time to add more inventory to a product that sounds like it's not always full. So
plus we still have Wish class ship number 4 that is supposed to be coming in 2027. They have not, this itinerary release has said nothing, and this is not surprising. They will do a separate announcement and a separate itinerary release typically for a new ship. And so that could be completely off schedule with the rest of the fleet, right? We don't know when that will come out. I think the only thing this itinerary release kind of confirms for me, and I don't know how you guys feel about this because we haven't talked about this before coming on the air, but I don't think we're going to see Wish class number 4 until after summer. I think it could be late fall, early winter before we see. They're supposed to be 2027.
There's no reason
I don't think we're going to see it this summer.
There's no reason they can't. Let's just be clear. There's nothing in the itinerary release that hints at this, and there's no reason they can't, because they'd just be adding another ship into the inventory. And so you really have to look at like port schedules and stuff like that to figure out if she could fit in somewhere. Although we don't even know, to be perfectly honest, we don't know if the next Wish class ship is going to be sailing out of Florida, right? I mean, we assume it will be because they always put their newest ships there. But Disney's been big on like expanding in markets. Like we're going to be bringing the Disney experience to new places. So it's anyone's guess where that ship ends up. I wanted to say something really quick before I hand it back over to you, Sam, to talk through more itineraries. It's Brian Kowalski. Brian, if I'm getting your name wrong, I'm sorry. But he made the comment.
No, it's Matthew.
Matthew Kowalski. Thank you, Matthew. Sorry.
You see, Brian. It's because Brian's
about
middle
me.
name is Matthew,
Yeah,
and
it's all
so that's why he doesn't remember Matthew. If your
Matthew.
first name is Brian or Matthew, because
Yes.
they're both his name.
Yes, Matthew Kowalski. He's right. Bars don't always have to be over the top. I love cask and cannon, which is so simple. I will challenge you on that statement because although cask and cannon is like simple, like the amount of visual detail that they have pushed into that space and all of the things that you can like
There's so many Easter eggs.
Yeah, there's just so much
I
stuff
don't think
in there.
like I think that is over the top.
I don't think they have to add like laser projections to Hyperspace Lounge, but I think they could. It's like Star. I mean, I get it. You're on a Star Cruiser and like it's stark and white and all that sort of stuff, but I just want something a little bit more out of that experience. So anyway, back to your regularly scheduled programming with Sam.
Yeah. So anyway, I think I don't know. Chelsea, do you think we're gonna see? I don't think we're gonna see additions to concierge.
Probably not at this dry dock. I would say just because the concierge rooms on the Wish haven't been performing well currently on her current itineraries. So it's probably not, it probably doesn't financially make sense for them to add more rooms until they know how she performs in Europe.
That's a good point. That's
so
a
Sam,
really good point.
Talk through some of the itineraries. I just want to tee this up by saying that Disney is highlighting they are visiting new destinations this summer in Europe, including Zadar, Croatia, Trieste near Venice, Italy. I probably butchered that. I apologize. And oh man, I'm really going to butcher this one. Hellesilt in Norway. I know you're supposed to pronounce each and every letter, and I did not do that. But yes, so 3 new stops, one in Croatia, near Venice, Italy, and then Norway. So do we know anything about these ports?
I'll be honest, I don't know much about them. I just have to say that Adriatic Sea, the 8-night Adriatic Sea and Greece, which is the one that goes to Corfu, Trieste, Zadar, and Dubrovnik, like that itinerary to me looks killer. I mean, it's early June, so for us, Nathan's still in school. A lot of people, depending upon where you live, kids might be in school. If you're in one of those places where you end in May, God bless you. I hope you enjoy going to see Croatia and Greece because I don't know. I think that looks like an amazing itinerary. If I were going to be booking something in the Europe release, I think that's what I would be booking.
And shoulder season, I'm going to pull up the pricing after I send it over to shoulder season and like the time of year when it is not ungodly hot in Europe these days. So
yeah. Chelsea, what do you think about this one? And then maybe talk us through the next one, which is a Mediterranean with Greek Isles. But first, let's talk about your Adriatic Sea in Greece.
I mean, that is a really cool itinerary. And it's one that, several ports on there, no Disney ship has been to yet. So that would definitely be the one that I would pick as well if I was to do a European sailing this summer, which I don't think I can because my kids are also still in school.
I gotta say, the 8-night is a freaking steal, in my opinion. It is. So for a veranda for 8 nights, it's $9,300, which I mean,
you're talking about this is for 3 people.
This is for 3 people, $9,300. I mean, for a sailing in Europe on a Wish class ship with this unique of an itinerary, I'm shocked actually that the pricing is not higher than that. I'm actually shocked. I would have figured at least $1,500 to $1,700 a night for this like unique itinerary. I think it's probably because it's falling in early June and not everyone's out of school yet, so it's shoulder season. Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about the next one. Chelsea, I'll let you talk about the next one. This is an 8-night Mediterranean with Greek Isles on June 15th.
Yeah, so I mean that's a cool one too, because it goes to several ports and it's all over Greece. Mykonos, Rhodes, Santorini, and then you end back in Naples. It goes to some pretty cool ports as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you know what? We skipped over. There's another one, another Greek Isles 9-night actually before that. There's actually a couple. I just realized we skipped the May ones. So there's a 7-night Mediterranean that's mostly Italy. That is the May 22nd. That looks good. And then there's a 9-night Mediterranean with Greek Isles that goes to Malta, and then a few stops in Greece, and then Naples for Pompeii and Italy. So those are also good, but those are all places I feel like that Disney has done before. Whereas I feel like that Adriatic one is different. We also have got a 10-night in here, which if you really want to see Greece, because this one has 1, 2, 3, 4 stops in Greece, and then you go to Messina, which is the stop closest to Sicily in Italy, and 4 days at sea. That's an amazing one. That's end of June, so that it starts to get to closer to when kids are off of school, sort of more universally. There's just this is such a great it's just such a great itinerary. All these itineraries on the Wish are really really fabulous. There's a and then we once we hit July, we hit some 7 nights, some 6 nights, and then of course maybe the piece de resistance, which is the 7-night Norwegian fjord itineraries. These are like right at the end of July, so this is the height of. So these are going to be more expensive than they are often with Disney Cruise Line, because oftentimes Disney Cruise Line is doing the Norwegian fjords in September. And this time they're doing it the very end of July, like 2 sailings at the end of July. And that's like the height of the summer vacation season for Americans and also for Europeans. And so I'm guessing those are more expensive than what we've seen in previous years, just based on timing. Not because it's increased in price, but just the timing. Those are great itineraries also. Lots of small ports mixed in there with, of course, Stavanger on one of the itineraries, which is a bigger city.
So, Sam, I just really quickly, 2 things. One is I wanted to sort of like, I was doing a little research here on these new ports that they're introducing to this summer itinerary. And oh my God, am I like so upset that we can't do this cruise. So the research here on, so Zadar, Croatia, it's got Roman ruins, medieval churches, one of the most underrated sunset spots in Europe. Apparently, Alfred Hitchcock famously praised it. Artsy, unexpected waterfront installations, highlights including the sea organ. Waves create haunting natural music through underwater pipes. There's just a ton going. This just sounds like a really fun port. Trieste in Italy is described as a fascinating mix of Italian, Austrian, and Slovenian influences. Elegant, uncrowded alternative to Venice. Historic coffee capital of Italy. Yes, please. And it just sounds like a charming little town. And then the Norway stop, it says it's a tiny village at the entrance of, oh gosh, Geirangerfjord, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, one of the most dramatic fjord landscapes in Norway. It's about scenery, not shopping. And so, yeah, kayaking in the fjord. There's some sort of hike here that has insane mountain switchbacks. So yeah, these are some interesting ports to be adding.
Yeah.
So I'll be really, really curious to hear what people say about that. The other thing I wanted to do is point your attention over here. You're being a little out-sleuthed by Nathan in the chat, who is saying that with the Dream moving back to Port Canaveral, there's only going to be one ship left in Fort Lauderdale. And could that introduce the possibility that the next Wish class will come out in the summer and be based in Fort Lauderdale?
Yes, but the Wish yes, I think it's still going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen this summer. I think it's going to happen in the fall when the Wish comes back. my personal belief, and we can, I thought I was going to get to this later in the show, but I think we're going to see the Wish maybe head over to Galveston, because there's nothing in Galveston for the entire summer, right? And we know that Disney Cruise Line has a very big port commitment to Galveston, and they seem to have ships there for most of the year, right? And so I could see the Wish going to Galveston and a new ship coming and sailing out of Port
But
Everglades.
not for the after the summer itinerary.
I think after the summer. I think after the summer. We also need to see where the Magic is going to go, because the Magic will presumably come back through the Panama Canal at the end of the summer season. I mean, it could stay on the West Coast.
She could swap places with the Wonder and become the West Coast ship for a while. Yeah.
Well, sure, but I'm saying one of those ships, like, I think it's unlikely that we'll see both ships stay there for the entire year, right? I think one of them is likely to come back. Although I wouldn't be surprised if they stay there for, a month or two, because we do have that big port commitment to Catalina. So, we'll have to see how things shake out. I'm not sure we know where everything's going to be. But I do think there's a good chance like the Wish could go to Galveston. That's my prediction. We also have people in the chat thinking, we'd love to see a ship come back to New York in the fall and do New England. I did notice somebody on Facebook had asked us about the ships, not that there's nothing from New York or New England. And I want to just say that's typical. That's not usually a summer season thing. That's usually a fall season thing. So it's not surprising that we don't see anything out of New York and New England. I don't think that necessarily says anything about 2027. If that's going to happen, it's likely going to be that sort of early fall time. Yeah. But can we move to August? Because August is where it gets interesting for the Europeans, I wouldn't say. I think August on the Wish is a lot of shorter sailings. These are going to be more targeted to that European market, the first-time cruisers who are looking at the Disney price tag and saying, I could go on P&O for a third the price if I want to sail to Spain. But these are going to be those cruises that entice the first-timer who has never been on a Disney ship. They're leaving out of Southampton. I think pretty much all of August, it's leaving out of Southampton, and they're doing a couple of 5 nights, a few 4 nights, and a couple of 3 nights. And those ones tend to only have, nights have each one stop. The 4 night has only 1 stop. The 5 nights have 2 stops. So my personal opinion is those are not gonna attract a lot of American repeat cruisers. Those are gonna attract a lot of those first time European and UK cruisers. So that's, I think, what that is designed for. We don't have anything past August for the Disney Wish. And all that tells us, I shouldn't say that. We have September, British Isles cruise, and Northern Europe cruise. So, sorry, the first 2 weeks of September. So we've got British Isles cruise that goes to Greenock, Liverpool, Belfast, and Portland. And then we have a 7-night Northern Europe that does Rotterdam. It does a stop in Kristiansand, Norway, Copenhagen, Denmark, and Skagen, Denmark. So that's a nice Northern European itinerary. And then after that, so September 17th is when the Wish itineraries stop. And that would be fairly consistent with when, a transatlantic crossing could come back. I'm not sure if it will be, on the 17th or shortly thereafter, based on previous years. Sometimes it's been late September, sometimes it's been October. Chelsea, your thoughts on what the Wish could be doing at the end of the season?
I mean, possibly she's coming back for a dry dock, so she's
doing her dry dock in May, right? So she's not going to do another dry dock at the end of the season.
I mean, she could be coming back. I don't know if she's going to go to Galveston. I don't know. I think maybe the Magic's going to head back into Galveston. I think she's probably going to head back into Port Canaveral.
Your problem with your Galveston theory, I think, Sam, is does Galveston support the LNG refueling that the ship needs?
I think we had looked into that last year, and I think that they had that like on tap for, it was like it was in process. It's not up and running yet, but I feel like we had talked about that they were doing some kind of port, refurbishment or whatever that was going to do something like that. So I don't know. That's my prediction. I think those folks in Texas are just sick of the magic. They're like, give us something new. We want, but we also, like Brian said, we could see a swap of the magic and the wonder. That's a possibility.
Galveston does support LNG. I just looked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And Nathan saying I thought we heard Galveston was building it, and that's what my recollection was. But yeah, I mean,
the Carnival Jubilee is LNG fueled, and so they began receiving LNG in 2023. So they do have that capability. Yeah.
Another possibility is, of course, the Dream. Right, the Dream is doing those, taking over the 3 and 4 night sailings that the Wish was doing, those Bahamian sailings. So that could, if the Wish comes back and comes back to do 3 and 4 night sailings, which is possible, then the Dream could head to Galveston and do the sailings out of there. But I also think there's, we don't know what Wish class number 4. Somebody had asked me online about Wish class number 4. We don't know what Wish class number 4 is going to be doing, if she'll be sailing out of Port Canaveral versus Port Everglades. I could see either. I don't think she'll be sailing out of a new port. I think that Wish class number 4 will be out of one of those 2 ports. But it could take over the 3-4 night itinerary. It could take over a 7 night itinerary. It could take over the 4-4-5 itineraries. I don't know that we have any clear predictions on that. We did get a nice question about the new Frozen movie debuts, and this is from Amy. The new Frozen movie debuts in November of 2027. Do we think that there will be anything special in Norway, or I guess in Europe, in the months preceding that, right? So we've got the Wish going to Europe, and she's going to be in Norway at the end of July. The new Frozen movie comes out in November. Do we think we're going to see that, I don't know, that Frozen deck party? Like maybe they revamp that? I don't know. Any predictions, Chelsea?
I mean, it would be a missed opportunity for sure.
Right?
And we are a Frozen family. My one kid dresses up like Elsa daily. So it would be a missed opportunity, and I hope that I can take the time to be on a sailing in November to watch the movie on the ship.
Absolutely. I mean, they'll definitely do stuff on the ship. Like there will be a premiere at sea, no question, when the movie comes out. I wonder if they'll wait to sort of revamp the deck, like, and do a new Frozen deck party till they have the new movie out, and then theme it based on the new movie. I think that would just be very welcome. I think a lot of people have seen that Frozen deck party in Alaska or in Europe and are looking for perhaps a better version of it, like myself. So yeah, I think it would be really smart for them to do a tie-in between the two. Frozen is a highly successful IP property for Disney, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I think we've answered all of the questions we can.
Nathan and I are going back and forth here on this. So I think there's some credence. So just for context for folks listening later, so Thomas Rogers said Disney's agreement with Fort Lauderdale is for 750,000 passenger movements in 2027. I was doing some math. Nathan was also doing some math, and he said 750,000 at an average of 3,500 heads per sailing is 214 itineraries. You take 214, you divide by 52, that's an average number of 4.1 itineraries per week, which the Destiny cannot do. So
right, they're doing maybe 2 a week.
That would suggest there's going to be another ship in Fort Lauderdale at some point to pick up the slack here. And so I don't know, Sam, we may see an announcement that they're bringing the next Wish class ship.
Well, sure. Well, and once the Wish comes back over, or either the Magic or the Wonder comes back over, right? Like we could see 3 ships at Port Everglades. I have no doubt that in order to meet their commitments, they could have 3 ships there. Right now they have the Destiny and the Dream and the Magic, depending upon what she's doing, right? So they absolutely could have 3 ships sailing out of Port Everglades in the fall. I have no doubt about that.
So let me ask this question, Chelsea. Clients call you up on booking day, and we'll get into that in a second on when you can book. Where are you headed? Like what are the standouts for you that you would say this is something that I am like want to book myself? Where would you steer people on this list?
I mean, I'm always down for an Alaska sailing. It's definitely a top destination for me to sell as well as personally to recommend. Um, I mean, I really love that 8 night Adriatic sailing. That's a cool itinerary. That's where I want to go one day. So,
Same. I really want to do that one, but there's just no way it's possible for us with the school schedule as it is. We don't
yeah.
get out of school until kind of late into June. So it's not even like it's not even, oh, I'll just miss the last week of school. No, that's like we still got like 3 weeks of school left at that point. So it's just not really possible. All right, Brian, let's talk about when people can book.
Yep,
You had that.
I've got
Good,
the
because
booking
I don't
dates.
have that.
I've got them right in front of me. So, as always, Disney is tiering the booking process by your Castaway Club status. So, for Pearl Castaway Club members, those who've sailed 25 or more sailings, your bookings will begin on Monday, February 16th. That is President's Day.
Is President's
Wow.
Day. Sorry,
Wow.
travel advisors around the world and Chelsea,
Yikes,
because
Disney.
your President's Day is now a working day instead of a vacation day.
Whew.
You know what? It's the day that activity spring booking for my kids opens up. So we're gonna have a busy Monday.
Yeah.
Was
All
it going to
right.
be a busy
There you go.
day?
So Pearl Castaway Club members, those with 25 or more sailings, February 16th. That is Monday. Platinum Castaway Club members, those of you who have sailed Disney Cruise Line at least 10 or more times, or 10 to 24 times, your booking opens on Tuesday, February 17th. So the day after Pearl. Gold Castaway Club members, those who've sailed Disney Cruise Line 5 between, you have to have completed your 5th sailing, but not your 10th sailing just yet. Wednesday, February 18th. So again, one day after Platinum. Silver Castaway Club members, you will come in on Thursday, February 19th. For Silver Castaway Club, for those not aware, those who sailed Disney Cruise Line at least one time. Disney Vacation Club members and Adventure Insiders can book on Thursday, February 19th. So also they get basically Silver Castaway Club priority. The general public, this will go on sale Monday, February 23rd. So if you have not sailed Disney Cruise Line before, you'll have to wait until February 23rd to book your sailing. As always, our recommendation is to reach out early and book as soon as possible to lock in the best pricing on your Disney cruise. That is shifting a bit here and there at times, as Disney has put some things on sale and even refunded people on board for sales on the staterooms. So, but I think it's still generally accepted wisdom to book early, because the prices only go up after bookings start on most of these sailings.
But importantly, Chelsea, what should people do if they want to talk about booking? And when should they reach out to their travel advisor to talk about booking?
Hey, as soon as you know when you want to book, let's do it.
That's right.
It's
That's
never
right.
really-
Never too early to give a call to My Path Unwinding Travel, or shoot them an email and let them know that you are ready to book, or that you just want a quote, you're interested in booking, you're not sure exactly what you're going to book, or if you want a recommendation, they can also help steer you to, figuring out what's the right cruise for your family, what's the right ship for your family, what are the right dates for your family, all of that. So again, in order to reach out, Brian, can you scroll on the bottom of the screen? Can you put out that ticker tape? If you want to reach out to My Path Unwinding to book, you can email them at dclduo@mypathunwinding.com, or you can go to their website, mypathunwinding.com/DCL Duo. And either way, it lets them know that you came through our show. But if you want to reach out directly to one of the advisors, you can go on their website. You can look at all their profiles if you want to select your advisor specifically. And of course, Chelsea's on there. If you want to reach out to her, you can email her at chelsea@mypathunwinding.com, and she'll get you all lined up for whatever your booking date is.
before we wrap up, just one final announcement that was kind of buried in this press release and is not relate to summer itineraries, which is just that Marvel Day at Sea, and Pixar Day at Sea will return. They are returning to select sailings beginning in January 2027. Marvel Day at Sea will return to Galveston, Texas, aboard the Disney Magic, and for the first time, will be featured on 2 7-night itineraries visiting the Bahamas. Pixar Day at Sea will be available on 5-night sailings aboard the Disney Fantasy from Port Canaveral, where guests may enjoy immersive moments inspired by Pixar films. So there you go. Pixar Day, Marvel Day returning.
So we have to go back and look at the itineraries for January and wherever else that Marvel Day at Sea. Because I got to tell you, I've been seeing pictures online from these last couple of weeks from Pixar Day at Sea, from Marvel Day at Sea. Brian and I have not done either of those themed sailings, and I am really having FOMO right now. So I really want one of those.
Well, as we wrap up here, go ahead, Chelsea. Yeah.
Just to note that if you have a sailing that is already booked during that time frame, you should be receiving a notice, or if you have a travel agent, they'll also be receiving a notice that your sailing has been converted, so that you're aware that your sailing is applicable to those dates.
Yeah. And so if you hate Marvel, you might want to, I don't know, change your sailing. I mean, who does that? But whatever. I mean, if you hate theming, you probably shouldn't be on a Disney cruise. But
yeah, there you go. All right. Well, just want to thank everyone out there for watching and for listening after the fact. Chelsea, why don't you remind folks how they can find you? I know we're scrolling stuff across the bottom of the screen, but just remind folks one more time how they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. I am on the website, which is mypathunwindingtravel.com, or my email is chelsea@mypathunwinding.com. And then you can also reach out to our DCL Duo link that was scrolling down at the bottom.
There you go. And Chelsea, just want to thank you for last minute hopping on to discuss summer 2027 Disney Cruise Line itineraries with us. For everyone out there watching and listening, we will be back. As we said last night, we'll be back on Monday, a regularly scheduled slot. President's Day is also a work day for the podcast. So we will be back. We will be back on Monday evening with the Holgate family. Cannot wait to have them join us. And with that, we will sign off and say, see ya next time.
See you real soon.